Hey YouTube, Graylan Stewart here with another video about wholesaling real estate. I am a wholesaler myself and an entrepreneur, and in this video I just want to talk to you about what an ARV is, because this channel is mostly for beginners, somebody just starting out. You're watching all these videos and it's super confusing because there's so many different terms and lingo and so many different types of things that you need to do to get started. But my goal here is to keep it real, make it as simple as possible, and also share my experiences. And everything I share on my channel here is real life experiences or things that I've done myself, or it's not just thoughts or thinking, or here's what I think would work. These are all real things that I know work by experience. So been doing wholesaling for a little while now, but one of the things that trip people up is ARV. Sometimes that I've found. So ARV is pretty simple. Really, it's after repair value, and what that means is exactly what it says. That's why the acronym is there, right? So what is a house valued after it's all repaired and fixed up? Okay, if you just think about a house flipper that actually buys a house, puts all the money into it to make the necessary repairs to make it beautiful, right, for a family to live in. Something like you would see on HGTV. After they're all finished, what can they sell that property for? That's what after repair value is. Okay. So the reason that's important in wholesaling is ARV really is the kind of the foundation of what you need to know to move forward with a wholesale deal. Reason being is when you talk to a motivated seller about selling their property to you, you have to know what the ARV is so you can figure out what your maximum allowable offer is. Therefore, you know where you need to buy it at, because you have the end game in mind, right? Because your goal is to eventually sell this to an end buyer, and they work their entire buy price based on the ARV as well. So basically, when you purchase a property, we'll just use easy math here for $100,000. Let's say, let's just say the ARV, is $100,000 for easy math. That means you think this property would be worth $100,000 after a remodeler fixes it all up, puts it on the market, and can sell it to a family. Okay. So, as you know, in this business, we buy mostly distressed properties from motivated sellers. Okay. So, most of those cases, they're distressed properties because they might have roof damage. Maybe it's got really tall grass, so they've got a lot of liens on their property because they don't take care of the maintenance on the outside. The paint is usually in disrepair. Sometimes the roof is sagging in the middle. All those different things, make it a distressed property. And oftentimes it's an older house, so maybe they need new wiring or new plumbing. They typically always need new flooring and painting inside and out every time, as a given, kind of. But every property is different. It's almost like a fingerprint. No person's fingerprint is the same. It's the same with these properties that we get. They're all different and unique in their own way. But ARV is very important, because how do we know what to buy that property at if we don't even know what the value is when it's all fixed up, right? So then after that, you got to figure out what the value is in the current condition, right? In the condition to where you can make money on the property. Okay. So if an ARV is $100,000 and this property is in super disrepair, let's just say you're going to get the property at $30,000. So is that a good buy or not? I would say yes, 99% of the time. But maybe this property needs new HVAC, maybe it needs new plumbing, maybe it needs new wiring, maybe it needs, of course, all new flooring and painting, maybe it needs a new roof, maybe it's got foundation issues as well. I mean, that's 7 major things right there. So just for easy math, if you just say each one of those things are $5,000, So 7 times 5 is 35,000, right? And some of those things will actually cost more than 5, and maybe some less, depending on the size of the house and depending on the area that you live in. But for easy math, let's just say all those things are wrong, and that's 35 grand. Okay, so if you take $100,000, I'm going to get my calculator out here, and to figure, your buy price and ARV, most places around the country, you're going to want to multiply by 0.75 or 75%, right? Because keep in mind, an end buyer, they want to be all in on a property at 75%. So there's a couple of reasons why they need to be all in at 75%. One reason is that's their profit. That 25% is their profit, okay? But the biggest reason is that I don't ever see anyone really talking about is because that's what the bank will loan. They'll usually loan up to 75% of what the ARV is, right? Because they want to protect their money. And that's the main reason why your end buyer needs to be all in at 75%. And I've never actually heard a wholesaler or one of the gurus or anybody out there talk about that necessarily, because I feel like maybe they don't flip themselves. We do a little bit of everything at my company. Our main priority and our main goal is to wholesale every property, but every property can't be wholesaled. So we do hotel a lot, which we'll get into that in other videos. But we also flip properties, meaning we take it down ourselves, remodel it, and put it on the open market. And we also buy and hold for long-term wealth. So we want to keep those rentals. So that's the reason I know that, because I feel like a lot of wholesalers out there, or a lot of companies, or on people on YouTube, their main thing is just wholesaling. That's pretty much what they do. But we do a lot of all of it. Like I said, wholesaling is our first goal, but we want to make money on it, whatever it takes. So anyway, so ARV is important because typically that sets the tone for the rest of the transaction all the way to the end, okay? So your end buyer needs to be at 75% of ARV because that's what the bank will loan, first of all. But also that 25% is their cushion, is their profit, okay? So if you buy a house, or if an ARV is $100,000, we multiply by 0.75 because 75%, that leaves us $75,000, okay? And if we just said those 7 different major things, let's just say they're $5 grand each, okay? We'll get into repairs and how you figure that in different videos as well. But let's say it's $35,000, so we already at 75 now, right? So now we got to subtract that 35,000, and now we're at 40, okay? So the first question I asked was, what if we got the house at 35,000, right? I might have said 30, I don't remember, but so we're at 40 now, okay? We already got the buyer's profit, or their all-in price figured in. Now we've got the repairs figured in at 40. Now what about us, right? We're not in this just for the fun of it, right? We got to make a living and make money. So, the national average typically, from what I've seen, is around $10,000 profit per deal, okay? That's an assignment fee. So let's just subtract $10,000 off of that. So that leaves you with $30,000 as your buy price with your seller, okay? So my question was, if we can get the property at 30 grand, or I might have said 35, is that a good buy? I would say yes, because that means we have at least, in this scenario, $5,000 to $10,000 profit built in for ourselves, right? So this is exactly why you can see ARV is super important, and what ARV really means to yourself and to the end buyer, okay? Because it's important to everyone. Actually, even your end buyer, your cash buyer, is not really the end buyer. The end buyer is your retail buyer once they put it on the market to sell it, unless they're keeping it as a rental, okay? So the ARV is important for everyone because your retail buyer is basing it on that too, not really for the reasons that we do as investors, but if they're seeing the houses in the neighborhood are going for $105,000 or $100,000, and they see a property for $99,000, oh, that's a decent deal. That's about what they go for, right? If they see one for $95,000, like, oh, that's good. It's a little bit below market. Or if they see one for $120,000, they're like, oh, that's a little higher than market. So ARV is important to them as well, just for different reasons than us. They just want to feel like they're getting a good deal like everyone else, right? So so that's really it for this video. ARV is after repair value. That's what your property is worth after the remodeler or the rehabber or your cash buyer fixes it all up and is able to sell that on the open market, okay, on the MLS with the realtor. So that's why knowing an ARV and figuring that out from the get-go is the most important thing. And the way you really find those and figure those out, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. I mean, you can do the free sites like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, all those different things. You just look in the area, anywhere within kind of a half-mile radius typically. And again, that depends on your area too, because there's some areas in the cities that I wholesale in that it's street by street ARVs in some of those areas. And some of them you can go a mile out, okay? But the point is, you look in your specific area, in that half-mile area is typically what it is. What are all the highest comps going for, okay? And you don't want just a one-off. Like if there's a property that went for 130, but the majority of them are 100, your ARV is probably 100, okay? So that's how you kind of figure what your true ARV is. You want to get a good average and not one-offs up or down. What's the majority of the houses selling for in that area, okay? So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a little bit. Drop me a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Please like, share, subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. And look forward to talking to you in other videos. And have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.